Beyond the Arc podcast episode. I think we're in the 40s. Landon, how are you doing today?
Dude, I'm doing good. I'm ready to go, and can't believe we're already at 40.
Yeah. I know it's been a little inconsistent over the years with episodes, but definitely hitting the motivation peak right now to do more like debate talks this year. So I've been
Definitely.
enjoying it.
Oh
Um,
yeah, sports are right around the corner, so it's perfect time for that.
yeah, for sure. Hitting that time whenever we're watching the summer league and the TBT is coming up. I'm pretty pumped about that.
Oh yeah, TBT starts tomorrow, right?
Yep, I'm going to the first one. Going to go see La Familia play. That's University of Kentucky for the listeners that don't know. But me and Landon are big Kentucky fans, and so I'm keeping tabs on La Familia for sure.
Oh yeah.
So today, me and Landon are going to break down different scenarios whenever it comes to late game or even just like during the game with basketball. And before we start, I've got to give credit to my father-in-law, Daryl Dexter, who he actually listens to the podcast. He and I will be sitting down sometimes, and he'll ask me questions like some of the questions here, and so it kind of motivated me to like start a document and have us talk about it. So hopefully hopefully he likes what he hears today. But so we've got one, two, three, four, five that I have typed up, and then Landon's got a couple that he'll do. So Landon, I'll ask you the first one, and then I'll go from there. So the
All right.
first one is: do you foul while being up three in the late game?
Oh man. I definitely think I don't think there's a right or wrong answer here. I think it's a lot of just how you feel as a coach.
Mm-hmm.
I know, like you mentioned earlier, us being Kentucky fans, we would witness Calipari not do this late in the game. He would kind of let it just play out, and I think a lot of times it did not work in our favor.
Right.
But I see both sides to it. I think if you don't foul while you're up three and you kind of let the game go on, you're kind of counting on the players being inconsistent towards the end of the game, the nerves kind of messing with their flow, and them trying to do too much at the end of the game. Whereas if you foul up three, then you're forcing them to go to the line, make free throws. But at the same time, I would my stance of this is if you were a good free throw shooting team, absolutely, I think you foul being up three because
Mm-hmm.
then you're just going to be exchanging back and forth. But if your team is not a great free throw shooting team, well, you're stopping the clock, you're fouling them, you're letting them score while the clock is stopped. Well, then you're going to go down, you're going to get fouled, and then your chances of making your free throws are lower because you're not a great free throw shooting team. So I think my stance on this is if you have a team that is consistent at making free throws, especially down the stretch, I think it's a great scenario to go ahead and attack and you foul while being up three. But if your team is not great at free throw shooting, and especially when it's late in the game and the nerves are even more, I think you just let the game play out as it is.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. And I am gonna go from um, two other stances with this that probably haven't really thought about a whole lot whenever it comes to this scenario. The first one being, how good is your rebounding? And the reason why you say that is because if like any team that like knows what they're doing in a late game scenario, you got to think like, okay, they're gonna try to make the first one and intentionally miss the second. But if the defending team has good rebounders, then that shouldn't be a problem. I mean, if you have your Oscar Shibwe, for example, in there, like you're probably gonna think like, okay, I like our chances compared to if we've got a smaller team that could get out rebounded in this scenario. So that's my first thought with it. Second thought is the IQ of the guys in the game, which you should have guys with high IQ down the line, but in a scenario when you're up three and then you foul and the team makes both free throws, maybe they want to try to steal the inbound, and you've got guys who aren't great at getting spacing on the inbound, and you don't have a great inbounder, then your chances for that go down. And so those are two things that I was thinking about, along with, of course, do you have good free throw shooters, and how good is the opponent at shooting threes? Which, you know, if you let it play out, then some guys who just want to play hero ball, like, and you're the defender, like, you're going to live with it either way. So, I honestly, I lean more towards letting them play on, but it it could go both ways.
Yeah, and I don't think this is really a debate when it comes to professionally. I don't really see this being a thing. Whether I'm watching NBA or whether it's FIFA, I really think it's more of just a college game
Mm-hmm.
aspect.
Yes.
And if you see that the same way as I do, I don't know what that is. If that's just because the pro players are, I don't know, more prone to just playing the game as it is, and
Mm-hmm.
if there's more strategy when it comes to college coaching, whereas professional basketball coaching is just roll the ball out there and let your best players do what they can. So I'm not sure what that is, but that just came to my mind as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with the college game in general, like, there's a lot, like, you're going to get a bigger playbook, and that's going to be with both offense and defense. And, of course, like, you don't know how many NBA teams are practicing this compared to college teams are definitely practicing this. At least the successful ones are. That's so yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Okay, so scenario number two, I'll answer this first. So whenever this scenario says you're down three with 20 seconds or 25, 30, something like that. Do you go for a quick two and foul, or do you go for the tie? I am definitely leaning towards a quick two and a foul compared to going for the tie, because it almost like adds pressure to the other team once you foul in that bonus situation. And I know it's like taking a chance, but like you're either benefiting by if they go 1 for 2 or 0 for 2, or you're right back to normal with down 3 with maybe 8 seconds left, or even less than that. So I feel like there's probably more, I mean, probably from where I'm seeing it, I think there's more to gain from the team that is down by going for a quick two and fouling than trying to go for the tie, because, like, the other team is definitely going to try to see the three rather than they're going to be unexpected with the quick two. But what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think going for the quick two is the ideal move, just because I go back to this a lot. You know, in the late game situation, the nerves are high, the stakes are high, and so people tend to play a little bit lower than what you anticipate them to play, as if the game had just started. Now you get your occasional superstars that are, the moment doesn't affect them, but look at the Cooper Flag situation with Pope this year. Instead of going to foul or anything, you let it play out like it was, and then you get a steal, you get a turnover, and you get down the court, and the ball's in your possession, and it goes in your favor. Or you could do the route of, if you watched Indiana Pacers in the playoffs this year, how many comebacks they had, just because they just kept playing ball the right way instead of playing for the last shot, and it
Mm-hmm.
worked out in their favor. So I think a lot of times you'll see, most of the time, if you go for the quick two and foul, it works out more to your favor than if you go for the tie. Just because when you're standing out there dribbling the ball and you're dribbling the air out of it for 10 seconds, and then you kind of ruin your rhythm, you ruin your flow that you have going on, and then you let the defense set up, you let them catch their breath for a little bit. Even like those 10 seconds where they catch their breath, I mean, that's a big advantage for the defense at
Yeah.
that point in the game.
Yeah,
So,
I totally agree with you with that. And also, then, like, you know, like you just said, the main ball handler, like, his rhythm isn't, like, fully there, and he's probably going to take a bad shot, like, 9 times out of 10. And then even, like, his four teammates, like, are probably standing around for the most part, and then, their legs aren't going to be super fresh. So then they're probably going to be like stiff-legged whenever they possibly have a catch and shoot opportunity.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to like late game scenarios, I think when you're going for the tie at the end of the game, I think a lot of times, and correct me if I'm wrong or if you have a different opinion on this, a lot of times you go with the pick and roll
Mm-hmm.
or you do the pick and pop. And I think a lot of times it can create a mismatch to where um, that goes in your advantage, or it can create a mismatch to where it goes in the defense advantage too, because you're driving down in the lane trying to get a shot at the rim, and it could get blocked by the center or the post player, whoever switches onto you.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're doing the pick and pop, if you're putting a post player doing the pick and pop with him, I mean, the chances of him hitting the three at the end of the game is not going to be as great as your point guard just, isoing and going to the lane for a quick two. Uh, so that's just kind of another thought that I had.
Right. I definitely agree with you with that. Like, normally you wait till about the 10-second mark, and then that's whenever they do the pick and roll or pick and pop scenario with that.
Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, look at Kentucky this year. If you had Amari Williams or Brandon Garrison in there setting the pick and pop, and their defenders leave to double you, and they leave them open for the wide open shot, do you want them taking the last shot at the end of the game to tie the game, or do you want, with 20 seconds left, your point guard, like let's say Owe, for instance, getting to the rim and getting a quick basket, maybe even an and one or something like that?
Yeah, I like those chances a lot better than the pick and pop of the big. All right, number three scenario. So Landon, we'll go back to you to start this one. Do you call a timeout or do you let your team play for the final bucket?
I think it depends on the personnel you have. I think some guys are better under pressure, and I think some guys are better when you call a timeout and you show them what to do and they execute a play better than they execute a one-on-one that they have to create. So I think it really just depends on your personnel. I think if you trust in your guy and you think that whoever you give the ball to in that instance is athletic enough, they're smart enough, and they can see the floor to where they know exactly what they need to do to get the best shot off, then I think you let them play. Or even if it's like in a scramble moment. So, for instance, you get a fast break going. I'm not going to call a timeout and just kill the advantage that my team has on a fast break.
Right.
But if the other team shoots the ball, you get the rebound, and there's no fast break opportunity, then yeah, I might say, hey, slow it down, come here, come to the corner of half court, let's call a timeout, and let's run our best set that we have. So I think it's definitely a matter of situation and scenario, as well as who's on the court and what do they do better? Are they better under pressure, and are they better when they are making the decisions themselves, or is the player better when he's led by the coach and he's better to just execute something when he's shown what to do?
Yeah, I definitely was gonna go to that part about the personnel because the part that I was thinking about with this is like, do you have a team that is more structured or do you have a true 1 to 2 like complete bucket getters at the end of the day? And if you've got like 1 to 2 bucket getters, you're gonna let them play it out, and like you're gonna live with the results. But if you've got a team that is straight team ball, like share the rock the whole time, then you probably have to draw up a play. And the the pro and con with it is like, yes, you are setting up a good offensive play, but the defense also like will have a defense structured and set up for whenever the time is right, whenever the ball's inbound and so forth. Maybe they trap. But if there is no timeout and they let them play, then the defense could be scrambling, and that could lead to your opportunity of a potential fast break, or even just like the defense not knowing what to do, who's got which man, and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of like questions that the defense like could be thinking about while the offense is just trying to go get a bucket.
Yeah, I think you made a great point. Defensively, you can't call a timeout on defense.
Right.
It has to be an offensive initiated timeout. So let's say that the defense that is out on the floor, are you better set up to beat them, or if by you calling a timeout, does that allow the coach to put his best defensive players in there?
Right.
And is that going to allow the coach to, talk to his players about, we saw this in film. This is probably what they're going to go to. This is how we need to defend it. And
Mm-hmm.
so you kind of got to look at not only your personnel, but also who else is out there for the other team at that moment.
Yeah, for sure. All right, next scenario was one that actually happened in the NCAA tournament. I call it the Patino scenario here, and because it revolves around R.J. Lewis, and I forgot if I talked to you about this or if I talked to with my father-in-law about it. It might have been you on our text thread, but
Yeah, I think you had texted me about it or something like that
yeah,
after it
yeah,
happened.
that's what I thought. Um, but so this past year with St. John's, you have the Big East Player of the Year. I'm pretty sure, right? R.J. Lewis is Big East Player of the Year.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. So you have your Conference Player of the Year, and he is playing awful. I mean, he was what, like 3 for 17, not playing great defense. And I want to say for the final about 5 minutes of the game, Patino sat him, and it kind of sparked a little controversy, but Patino had no regrets with it. And there was a little backlash, but Patino has won 2 championships, so I mean, who's going to go against that? So, in this scenario, your best player is having a bad night. Do you leave him in late in the game? And so, I'll start with this one. The reason why I say it depends, because in this case, no. But if your best player is not having a good offensive night, but he's playing good defense, yes, keep him in. But it depends on things such as defense, which if he's just getting cooked, then take him out. And then along with that, hustle slash body language at the end of the day. Because like if he's still looking like he wants to win, and like of course you're gonna be a little discouraged if you're shooting bad. But if you're letting it affect your whole game, and like how you're hustling after loose balls, if you're boxing out, or even just being a good teammate, if you shooting bad is affecting you in that way, you just need to sit on the bench. And so that's my thought. Like the coaches gotta read the player's body language whenever it comes to this, and then like make the call based off that. But what do you think?
Yeah, this year, so he went 3 for 17 from the field, over 3 from 3, 9 points, 7 rebounds. He had 1 turnover, 2 steals. So yeah, not a great game by him. I was trying to find his plus minus to kind of see, because that's a number I always like to look at to see,
Mm-hmm.
how the team performed when you were on the court versus when you were off the court. But I couldn't find it. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think I like what you said. Offensively, he's not doing great, but defensively, he's providing something for you. I would definitely keep him in. But in this instance, he wouldn't. I don't think he was doing either. Um, and so I think Patino made the right choice by sitting him down. And sometimes it's a matter of, hey, you're not playing your best offensively. What can you give me defensively? And if the player just says, I just don't want to give anything because I'm not playing well offensively, well, then, yeah, you're going to sit him down. And that's a matter of, body language, being a team player, and just, doing what's right for your team. So, a lot of times I would keep my best player in, just because you never know at what moment he's going to turn it on.
Mm-hmm.
And you never know, like, how is this going to affect his mental down, later on in the season. But in this instance, it was more, win or go home.
Right.
It doesn't matter. And you're trying to find a way to win these games to keep your season alive. So I definitely think, if this was something during the regular season, I might try and say, hey, go out there and just try and figure it out, because at the end of the day, I'm going to need you later on in the season, and we're going to need you later on in the season, so I don't want to affect that. But in this instance, where it's win or go home, you got to try something. So you never know who on your bench could just go out there and play a heck of a game. So I think it's definitely a situation thing, and then also what are you giving me both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we move on, I was trying to look it up, and I guess just because it's not live or anything, that ESPN doesn't have it on here. Was that where you were looking?
Yeah, I tried ESPN. They didn't have anything for it. I didn't find.
Yeah. Well, anyway. So, next scenario. Do you leave a player in with 2 fouls in the first half? So, go over to
That's
you.
that's always a one that people always like to debate. I mean, for me, I think it depends on what way is the game swinging. Is your team playing good when you took them out with 2 fouls, or is there separation happening during the game? I think if you take your player out and your team is staying right there with it, they're playing competitively, the game's not getting out of hand, then I think you can keep your player out. But in the instance that your team is, let's say they're down five when he gets his second foul and you take him out, well, 5 7 minutes later your team is down 15 points. Well, you got to do something before you let the game get out of hand to where you can't come back, and it doesn't matter how many fouls your player has, you've got to get him back in the game.
Right.
And I also think, like, if you take your player out, let's say he picks up 2 fouls in the first 2 minutes, you want your player to sit for 18 minutes and then go to halftime for another 15. He's been sitting out for 33 minutes before he sees his court again. I mean, you don't want your players getting cold, and I mean, you want your players out there staying warm. You want them to be out there and get the feel of the game, how the refs are calling it, how the players are playing it. What's the rim like? Is it soft? Is it hard? Just what's the atmosphere like? I mean, if they're sitting on the bench for 33 minutes because of 2 fouls in the first 2 minutes and then they're going to halftime, like, they're just going to come back in the game. They're not going to have any flow to it. So I definitely think if your team is able to keep it close and keep it competitive, I would keep them out. But if separation is happening, then I would definitely move towards putting them back in the game.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And I've seen this at all levels, whether that be high school, college, NBA, stuff like that. If I mean, you can probably take them out at least for the moment, but then yeah, that literally what you were saying. Like, if momentum starts changing, then like you got to get them back in the game. And also, like you said, like if he if he or she is still like basically like getting buckets and like doing the right things, like maybe you do take the risk and keep him in the first half, because like if he or she is going to help you win the game, even if it has 2 fouls in the first half, then like you've got to roll the dice at the end of the day, because like then if you keep them out, like if it's like the second quarter, or in college if it's still the first half and there's probably about like 6 or 7 minutes left, and then the momentum swings like going into halftime, like that is a game changer, because like how you finish a half could determine the game. I mean, don't you agree with me with that?
Oh yeah, I think the thing they say is the last 4 minutes of the first half and the first 4 minutes of the second half are always the big things to look at as the outcome of the game.
Yeah.
How you finish the first half and how you start the second half are always the key indicators of how the game is going to go.
Yeah. um just because like it's all mental, like you just talked about, like to an extent. Like if the player is like hasn't played in a little bit, and then like they come back in the second half, and then like they're definitely going to be passive, not going to play as hard because they're afraid they're going to get more fouls, and then they're going to sit. And then even like their rhythm, like whenever it comes to like offense, is probably going to be off, because they haven't touched a basketball in a little bit.
Yeah, I think another thing is that kind of shows how much trust the coach has in the player. Um, do I trust you as a player to go out there and make the smartest decisions for this team, to not go out there and get your third foul on a silly foul, especially? or do I not trust you, so I'm going to sit you down because I think you're going to go out there and you're going to do something stupid and get your third foul. So I think
Absolutely.
a lot of it has to do with coaches' trust as well, and I think that could hurt a player mentally. You know, it's like I can go out there, coach. I can go out there. I won't foul. I'll let him score. Well, then you get into the game and things get sped up, and you just lose that, and you commit a stupid foul, and then you lose all trust from your coach.
Yeah. And then, like, then your positive attitude can turn negative real quick, and then you're checked out for the rest of the game because of your two fouls in the first half. It's like, oh, now my whole game's thrown off, and like I'm not going to play a good second half because of the bad first half.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, next one. Do you intentionally miss a free throw at the end of the game, or do you just play the free throw game? I'll answer this one first. Um, Probably to an extent, you got to care about how much time is left. Which not probably that you definitely got to care about how much time is left. Um, I'd say if you are only up like one or two, then no. I don't think three, but of course, if you're up four with like 10 seconds left, then maybe go for it. I don't know. Actually, I'm gonna take that back. I would rather just play the free throw game. I'm trying to weigh both sides of it, to be honest with you, but I would much rather play the free throw game, play it safe, than completely roll the dice with that one. Is that how you feel?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So let me give you a scenario. Let's just say hypothetically in college basketball you can call a timeout and they advance it to half court like they do in the women's game.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say there's 3 or 4 seconds left and you're down three, but you're at the line for two. Do you make both free throws and then foul and then just call your timeout to advance the ball after they shoot their free throws, or do you intentionally miss in that spot?
Yeah, that is definitely where the question came in, and I just completely looked at it from the other way for some reason. So, I in this scenario, I am going to try to make the first one, of course, and then if if you've got if you've got a high IQ person at the line, then I would say to go for it with the intentional miss. But if you've got someone who like is okay at free throws and then like not super smart like whenever it comes to just like throwing the ball at the rim or just making it obvious compared to actually trying to get a quality miss, then I would just say to try to go for both free throws.
Yeah. Now I just looked this up. The percentage chance of you getting an offensive rebound off of a free throw is 13.9%. So basically 1.3 out of every 10 free throws you're going to get an offensive rebound. So we'll just say 1 out of every 10 free throws you will get an offensive rebound.
Which
Do you think the percentage chance of you making both free throws and then the other team missing one is higher than that?
um honestly, part of it depends on the atmosphere because
Yeah.
if if you're at home and you're down like that, I am definitely gonna try to have that, like try to play the free throw game because like guys at any level, like there is definitely a mental battle whenever you've got opposing fans just like completely yelling at you while you're shooting free throws.
Yep.
And so that's where I would play the free throw game. But also, like I said, like even whenever I don't even know what I was saying. The part about the clock, definitely there is a factor because if it's like 10 seconds left or something like that, yeah. But if it's like 3 seconds, then I'm probably gonna have to try to intentionally miss a second. And so what you do, you definitely want to sub in two of your better rebounders to get in those two spots ready for the intentional miss or and just the tip out or even just the putback.
Yeah, I'm gonna get statistical here because we live in the world of play by the numbers,
Go for it.
and so the percentage chance of you getting an offensive rebound with 0 to 10 seconds left is 33.6% compared to 11 to 15 seconds is 27%. So I think that goes into your atmosphere kind of, and the less time that's on the clock, the more likely you are to get an offensive rebound because of the situation of the game.
Interesting. I
So
yeah.
it's almost like in football, do you go for it on 4th and 1 when
Right.
you're at the 50-yard line compared to when you're on the 35?
Right. And there could be a whole football scenario one that we could do
Yeah.
like that. But yeah, I mean there of course like there's gonna be a clutch gene with some guys, but like you gotta be willing to risk it. Like if you're at home, like putting the pressure like and even like if you have a timeout left, like after the first free throw, calling a timeout, try to ice the shooter, like
Yeah.
you got to be willing to throw all your bag of tricks out for that.
Yeah. So I think for me, like in this situation, it's more of a statistical game of like, okay, who are their rebounders and who are your rebounders?
Mm-hmm.
How much time is left? What is the timeout situation? How is the person at the free throw line? Have they practiced this scenario of missing free throws? Because I mean, there's certain spots on the rim that if you miss it, it's going to go in your favor. Compared to there's certain spots on the rim that if you miss it there, it's going to go in the other team's favor. Or you could just airball it and completely miss, and then it's a dead ball.
Yeah, I've been in a scenario where like the person just like threw it at the backboard, and it was
Yeah.
and then it's like, oh, okay, now it's just their ball, and it's probably ball game from
Yeah.
there.
I guess another thing that I guess to talk about is, do you practice this situation in practice?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what we were talking about with just like scenarios in general. Like a lot of this has to do with the college game, but you can also do it at the high school. And I mean, if pros do it, then good for them. Like they're probably gonna be prepared for it. But yes, you definitely got to work on scenarios because like it's great preparation at the end of the day. Not every game is going to be close, but not every game is going to be a 10-15 point game. So you got to be ready like for any scenario. And so I think this is definitely one like this can be one that serves as a rebounding drill along with trying to, climb your way back.
Yeah.
But the last debate you you came up with like that you were talking about on the fly. So do you want to read it out?
So a lot of times at the end of the game, you'll see coaches put in their best free throw shooters at the end of the game compared to their best lineup at the end of the game. So do you put your best free throw shooters, which is probably going to be small ball, a lot of guards in there, or at the end of the game, do you put your best lineup in?
Um,
And I guess I'll let you answer that one first.
yeah. So I definitely like, and just because I've seen this philosophy with a good amount of coaches in the area, I'm definitely putting the best free throw shooters in at the end of the game. And what happens is that, like, and you've probably seen this too. Whenever it comes to like strategy, like we've talked about with, I mean, we've talked a lot about the college game, but even in high school, what you do is like you sub in your best shooters, and then whenever it's the other team's ball, like if it's a dead ball, then you sub them out and get your best defensive lineup in. You've seen that, right? Like how that works.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I definitely like see it from that point of view. So like I definitely am gonna go with the put your best free throw shooters in at the end of the game, and then like get ready because like if it's a dead ball, taking all the guys out who aren't as better defenders and then swapping them out for better defenders and just keep playing that game as much as possible.
Yeah, so I agree. I agree with you said. I guess I'll give a counter argument to that.
Okay.
Just to see what you think about it. So towards the end of the game, you're putting your best free throw shooter in, then he makes it, and you're subbing your best defensive player in. Is there a chance that communication gets involved and you have miscommunication as to who's guarding who, and then you're all jumbled up, and then it's a mess, and then the other team is at an advantage to go and score?
My kind of counter with that would be it would be the same guy or guys like getting each other each time. So like they know who is guarding the person, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, do you understand what I'm saying with that?
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying with that.
Yeah, it wouldn't be like a whole 5 in, 5 out type thing. It would probably be like like two guys maximum, for example.
Yeah.
Because normally, your guys are going to practice free throws all the time. There's only going to be a couple guys that are like, I don't know if I like my chances, so I'm going to play it safe and get someone else in. But like most of the time, a good amount of guys, you're going to be like, okay, they're at least going to go 1 for 2. And if they don't, then I was wrong, got to live with it.
Yeah. I guess you could say, they make the first one and then miss the second one. Well, now instead of your best defensive player being in there, it's your best free throw shooter who may not be the best defensive player. And so then at that situation, you're kind of in a pickle.
Yeah. And sometimes you're just going to have to live with that. And, I mean, I feel like in that case, I mean, you're going to have to live with it because, you can't call a timeout or sub. But I do agree with that one. Like, there are going to be times whenever, like, if you don't have your, like, complete best lineup in, that, like, you're going to be like, oh, shoot, like, they might score on us here. But you're going to have to, maybe drop back into zone or something like that. Like, so in this case, the guy's at the scorer's table. He's telling the refs that he's got the shooter if there's a sub. The coach tells the guys to get back, play zone until like the good defender checks in. And then like if he misses, then you can just drop back into zone and just like live with it from there. But if not, then you can go to man. If he makes the free throw, because you've got enough time to communicate it real quick, because the ref doesn't give the ball to the player after a made free throw in like 0.5 seconds.
Yeah, and I guess hack a shack is a thing.
Yeah.
So it's like if you keep your best lineup in compared to your best free throw shooters, well, I'm just gonna go foul your worst free throw shooter.
Yeah.
I don't care about the guy that has the ball. I'm just gonna go hack the guy that is your worst free throw shooter on the team. So that until that rule is taken care of, I think it makes sense to put your best free throw shooters in.
Yeah, and like personnel is known at like any level, so it's not like you're gonna get away with it, because like even at like with the example like with my team and stuff like that, like we know who the bad free throw shooters are and stuff like that. Like we do the scout, and even if we like forget in the moment, like we've got assistant coaches on the sideline like saying like who is a good shooter and who is not, and so then you'll know who to foul from there.
Yeah, no, that's true.
But
I agree.
But yeah, I still like. And that may be more of a complicated view, just from where I see it. Like, do you what do you think with like the lineup situation?
Towards the end of the game.
Yeah.
I think you do exactly what you mentioned. It's just flip-flopping between your best defensive player and your best free throw shooter. So you send your free throw shooter out there for the offensive possessions, and then after he makes his free throws, send your defensive player out there. I think that's the best strategy to go with.
Yeah. I'm glad we're on the same page with that one. Is there any others that came to your mind last second?
No, I think just the one we just talked about and the one before, the ones that I could think of off the top of my head.
Yeah. I thought we had some good ones today that we broke down. A lot of them were late game scenarios, except for like the do you leave a player in with 2 fouls in the first half. A lot of that like stuff has to do with just like you're not really thinking about stuff like mid game a whole lot compared to late game because like your chances of winning could go up or could go down drastically with the wrong decision with that.
Yeah, I guess. Do you at the end of the first half do you go for a 2-for-1 if the situation is possible?
Yes, I absolutely do. And that's just from a point of view of like how I see it. But um, I will say that like the time that I wouldn't do it is if like there's 30 seconds in a shot clock. If there's 42 or something like that with in the regular clock, like I'm just gonna say to just get a good one because like then the other team is gonna milk it for the most part, and then you don't have a whole lot of time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what about you?
Hey, I got some breaking news real quick.
Yeah.
Damian Lillard 3-year contracts with the Blazers.
Did he really?
Yep, 42 mil.
Wow.
Yeah.
Going back
Returning back to Portland. I would assume he's going to retire after that.
He's finishing up as a Blazer. That was not my prediction, like at all.
No.
And they gave him a good amount of money.
Yeah, 3 years, 42 mil for a guy coming off a torn Achilles.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a lot of money, but I thought he was going to get around like the vet minimum. Even.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But back
good.
to what you were saying. I think I agree with you with the 2-for-1. I think unless it's just you're coming down, you're just throwing up a stupid shot. Like you're just coming down. As soon as you get across half court, you're just chucking up a three. I think as long as you're getting a serviceable shot, then I think it's the smartest decision to go with.
Yeah. Well, that was a good one to finish off with. Do you have any more thoughts before we finish off?
No, man. I'm glad we're getting back into it, and I'm loving the topic so far, and I think it's gonna get even better as we keep going.
Heck yeah. Well, me and Landon are gonna tune into the TBT here this weekend. Hopefully, we can see each other and link up. Rooting on La Familia. So, thank you all for listening. Landon, I appreciate you as always.
Oh, yeah.
And
absolutely.
Tune in for the next one. All right, see you, bro.
See you, man.
Peace. Like, comment, subscribe, and see you all next time. Peace.